Hot diggity damn World 101 podcast is back with a fresh episode for you. And this week, as always, we are asking the all important question: what else can we fuck up today? Real quick before we get into all the good stuff, tease for the third half of the show. This week, Riker and I are taking a dive down the warp pipe and we're looking at whether or not nostalgia is holding gaming back. So stick around for that after the break. You can and should gently caress the inner thigh of the subscribe and share buttons, because when you do, they get really wet and turned on and they make really, really pretty noises. Also, in the show notes down below is a link to our Discord where you can and should jump in and come talk to us about whatever the hell you want. Whether it's you've got thoughts on this week's topic, old episodes, ideas for future stuff to get into, or anything, whatever the hell you've been playing, jump in. We want to hear from you. That's in the links to the Discord. So click that, jump in. Quick shout out to our awesome sponsor, Imaginary Authors, helping you up your scent game with fragrances for guys, gals, and non-binary pals. All that out of the way. I am, as always, your host, Rob the Wall. Joining me this week are my compatriots and co-pilots, Zoe.
What up?
Zoe froze. Uh-oh. There's Zoe. Video's froze, but audio's there. I can work with that. And my homeboy, Wes Evans.
You can't see it, but I'm dabbing.
More importantly, you can't hear a dab.
That's true. Unless I do it really, really, really fast. Let's try it. Nope, it didn't work.
I almost heard something there, but it might have been your T-shirt shuffling. But
Yeah,
I'll give you
like
credit
almost.
I think that counts. I count it. I count it, and that means I win.
I'm giving credit here.
Credit where credit is due.
All right. That's right. The callbacks. Okay, let's get into the fun stuff. Oh my God, video games. Wes, what have you been playing?
This has been a busy week for me. So really, there's only one proper game I've been playing, and that is Haunty on Game Pass, which is one that I think you guys should play. It is absolutely lovely.
I've
It's
added
got
it to the list.
Yes. I know you've got work on your backlog too. I understand, but it really makes me think of what if Wally was set in the world of ghosts instead of like with robots in a post-apocalyptic future. Because it's got two characters, one who doesn't speak and one who speaks in a language you can't understand. And it's all about, or a big part of it is their communication with each other and showing it off without their ability to speak. The art style and animation, fantastic. The gameplay, it's kind of a nice little twist on twin stick shooters. Like you can still shoot off your bullets, or they call it essence, with your right stick, but it's not just enemies you're targeting. You could also haunt objects if you hit them with enough of your essence, and then be able to take control of them, get certain properties from them, etc., etc. And so it's a little bit of a puzzle collectathon in that sense, and how you're trying to get everything in the game in order to progress.
Okay.
And
I'm here for all of this.
yes. And it also's got it uses a limited color palette to its extent, or like to a really great extent. Uh, it's got basically black and one other color, usually white or beige or very light green or something along those lines. So it's not Game Boy style because it's not pixelated. It looks hand drawn, but it is still, I still like it when some games follow less is more with art, and I found that one to be a really
yeah.
great example of it. And other than that, whenever I've had downtime at work, I've been doing more stuff with Godot. Don't tell my boss that I downloaded the Godot engine on my work computer. But yeah, I just
Secret
keep
safe with me
Yeah,
and the whole rest of the internet.
it's just no one here report that to my boss. Let's see.
I'd have
I
to
think
know
we're
the
safe.
cost.
But like I said in a previous episode we recorded, I'm committing myself to having at least one game with a public release. I showed it to you. I don't want to give anything away to the internet on what the game I'm making is, but I showed you the start of the game design document that I'm working on so that I can stop having blank canvas syndrome and stop just following tutorials and finally move on to something that is my own. So,
You
Speaking
got this. You're
of
in the
like
right
building
direction.
games and stuff, Rawl showed me, I guess Braid has an anniversary edition coming up, and part of their
yes.
commentary involves like
It's out.
talking about like game dev.
Oh yeah. So,
So, if you want to take a look at that, like I said, they talk about like developing games and whatnot. So if that holds interest for you, that the anniversary edition does have like a game dev commentary.
right.
I think they said like 15 hours of fucking dev commentary.
Right.
Like
So,
it's supposed to be meaty.
I'm not going to tell I first off I haven't gone through that commentary yet, so I cannot speak to its quality. I have, however, seen Jonathan some of Jonathan Blow's streams and some of his clips from his streams because he does stream himself programming. He is a brilliant man, absolute genius, but you should not listen to just him. Not because he's wrong,
No.
but because I legitimately think he hates life, and you need to listen to someone who's happy and can make you realize he's not upset because he's making games. He is just an upset man who happens to make games. So
He might
he
be
is
making games because it's very tortured artist syndrome.
right, right. And he
So
sometimes you have to remember that the art is not the reason he's tortured. It's his style of expressing his torment. So listen to him,
mhm.
yes, but also listen to people like Game Maker's Toolkit and Pirate Software can who can convey the happiness that they feel when they make games and whenever they talk about making them as well.
Yeah. Uh, Jonathan Blow had an interview with Adam Conover a number of years ago, actually, that was really good. That's well worth a listen.
I'll have to listen to that because I like both of
But
those people.
I'll dig it up and send it to you. Actually, I'll even stick it in the show notes too. So that way, if anybody else wants to check this out, check it out. It's an easy find.
But please
So
don't ever think
anything
I'm
else
saying
spinning?
nothing else spinning
Oh,
at the
keep
moment.
going.
But
Sorry.
please don't ever think I'm saying don't listen to Jonathan Blow because do. He is a brilliant man. Just please remember it is fun to make games. It is fun to problem solve. Please don't let him make you think it's not fun to do that.
Take what he says in
And problem
context.
solving.
Well, that's what game making is. It's
Mm-hmm.
finding, saying, I want to do this, and then say, okay, now how do I do it? Okay, my code doesn't work. Why doesn't work? Doesn't it work? One of the things that's been
Mm-hmm.
getting me through a lot of troubleshooting is, and it's kind of reminding myself to not get frustrated. It's like your code will always do what you tell it to, not what you want it to do.
Mm-hmm. It's not a mind reader. It only knows what you tell it.
So,
It is 100% objective.
yep.
So, with that segue, I'm going to toss it over. Dear, what have you been playing?
I find it interesting that Wes mentions problem solving. So, 3 weeks ago, I started grad school for counseling, and for our second assignment, we had to come up with a self-care like wellness plan. And in doing that, we had to like dive deep into what constitutes wellness. And there's more to it than I thought there was, but this is not that time. And it might be something I cover in Mind Over Media, but anyways, um, which if you don't know, Mind Over Media is a different podcast underneath the World 101 Podcast Network. Shameless plug.
Can be found in the master feed and individual feed coming soon.
Part of it was working your mind. And so working your mind with creativity, which I already do a fair amount, but working and strengthening your brain, which is not unheard of because, there's tons of things out there. It's like, hey, don't let your brain wither away and things to keep your mind sharp. But I realized for myself, personally, that I don't do that a whole lot because, as Raw very well knows, that if anything works my brain too hard, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like when he tries to get me to play his fucking puzzle games because he likes his puzzle games, and I'm just like, I'd rather play something that doesn't require me to think that much. And then same with other forms of entertainment. He likes watching things that require depth of thinking, and I'm just like, nah, give me, basic forms of media to ingest. Like, I'm a person that would sit there and watch the Vampire Diaries and shit, which requires little to no thinking. I have my occasional ones with, like, my crime shows, and not like true crime, but like murder mystery stuff. Anyways, so to enhance my problem-solving skills, I have started to engage in puzzle-solving games and have made the commitment to twice a week for 20 minutes, at least engaging in puzzle-solving games. But there was the caveat that I need a game where there's puzzle solving and but I had to have an out, because what normally causes my problem with, problem solving is I get stuck. And when I can't find the answer, I get frustrated, I'll rage quit, and just, no, I don't want to do any of that. And so we found a few that allow me to do that. So one that I've been playing is, what was the first one I played? Moncage. And that one's nice because,
He was confirming Moncage, yes.
Okay. We're gonna take a short pause so I can go grab my earbuds. Just make sure, you edit this out later.
Pause.
But give me a second.
Yeah, that's easy.
Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one more game going on the wish list. This art style reminds me of Inside, Moncage.
Mm-hmm. Moncage was wonderful.
I have no idea if the gameplay is even remotely similar to it, but the art style does make me think Inside.
No, it's very different.
Gotcha.
And yes, I do eventually want to get a headset, but a good headset costs money that I don't have. So,
I know. But your earbud should be sufficient, I would think, actually.
Give me a moment. I gotta.
So I seriously think it might be a
sure.
connection. I'm really curious as to what network you're connected to.
The regular one.
I wonder if you're connected to one of the junk networks. You don't usually come in this choppy.
I'm connected to SR388.
Switch over to the Verizon one. Just the doctor.
I'm waiting for it to show up more. You're gonna have Wes do another countdown.
That's
I
fine.
know.
I can count backwards from 5. It's not a hard skill to learn.
What, counting?
Let alone counting backwards.
There you go. I am connected to, what is that?
Oh, that's much better.
Okay. I'm still connecting my Bluetooth headphones, my earbuds. All right. Wes, can you still hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
I gotta change where the sound is. I think it switched my audio now.
Ha! For like 2 seconds,
Wes,
I
can
was
you
in
say
like
something?
2 places at once on screen.
Oh, can I say something? United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica,
Wes
Peru,
froze.
Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico,
Hold.
Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, then French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam.
Well done.
Norway and Sweden and Iceland and Finland and Germany now in one piece. Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey and Greece. Scotland, Albania, Poland, Romania, Ireland, Russia, Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Cyprus, Iraq, and Iran. There's Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, both Yemen, Kuwait, and Bahrain. The Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Portugal. France, England, Denmark, and Spain. India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Bhutan. Cambodia, Malaysia, the Bangladesh, Asia, China, Korea, Japan. Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet, Indonesia, the Philippine Islands, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Sumatra, New Guinea, and Borneo, and Vietnam, Tunisia, Morocco, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana.
That's impressive shit, and I'm putting it at the beginning of this episode.
Thank you. I don't think Zoe heard any of it, unfortunately.
No, I didn't. Because my computer was being stupid.
It's okay. I can start over. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean. I'll stop.
El Salvador too.
Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, then French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam.
Okay, so this is on the recording. He can
Yes.
totally cut that out and put it somewhere.
Oh,
I was going to,
good.
trust me.
All
Why
right.
did your audio go weird again? I don't know.
I can take my earbuds back out.
No, I don't think it's I don't think it's the headset. I think it's just the connection. And I don't know why.
Considering like things froze and everything, and you're like
Yeah.
Wes, I can see moving clearly. You are choppy, my love.
You are on my side too. I don't know.
Maybe our network is just having issues right now.
It might be.
But as long as the recording is clear, that's all that matters.
Basically. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's
so
punch it.
Wes, count us back down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I've been playing Moncage, and that one was good for problem solving because when you get stuck, it can give hints. And I like to try really, really hard to do things on my own. So I like that they give the hint in steps, and I can decide, how much of a hint that I want. But ultimately, if I get, stuck, they will show me a video of what to do. So I played that one. There's the Maw. That was the other one that I was playing, which is a 360 game. And there's no hints in that one, but I think just the fact that it's adorable makes me want to keep going. I guess there are hints because they put little like question marks on things for like you to go and investigate. And it even
Their
like gives
hints
you
are
reminders for
diegetic.
like what button. No idea what that means.
It means it's built into the game, into the world itself.
And then they give you like reminders for what buttons to push for things. Now I have no idea if that continues throughout the entire game or not. But I know early on, it's great. My issue is going, these games I was playing is going in between the Switch and the Xbox. So the fucking controls make me want to throw my controller more than the actual fucking game does. It'll be like push the A button, and I'm like, wait, A's not over there anymore. And then the one that I played today, which honestly shows a lot of growth, like not even just since playing these games, but since the last time I played this game, I played The Witness, and I looked at it differently. So one, this kind of goes to what Raul was doing when he was helping me, is doing things with an assumption of how things work. So initially when I played The Witness, I went in order. And when I got stuck on something, I would just quit because I was like, fuck, I can't keep going. And he's like, you can completely go to a different area and come back to this. Like, you do not, there is no like linear progression for this game. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that. I just kept trying to like bang my head against the wall until I got it. And so, also this time, and I don't know if it just helps me with like memory or just how I process things, but when I was doing the puzzles, I was making noises when I would complete the puzzles. So like there's some of them where like you have to hit things in a line in a puzzle. And when I would get one, I'd be like, boop, boop, boop. And like I don't know why, but it was something that I did this time. And then like if like I messed up, that had a noise. There was one where you had to use some of the things in the background and outline them. And I don't care that this is giving away something. It's one something out of the entire game, but there's one where like you have to use the rocks in the background. And so you had to outline these rocks. And so when I got them, I was like, rock, rock, rock. And like speaking while I did the puzzles. And I don't know why it helped, but it did. And I don't know if it was because it was easier for me to like retain an audio of what went wrong, like in my brain, over like visually remembering, oh, I did this before and that didn't work. I also realized I do a lot better it with visualizing if something's going to work or not, rather than using my controller and like going through a million different choices. There were some of them where I was just like there was one where I asked Raul for a hint, and while he was talking to me, I put the controller down. And literally before he gave me the answer, I fucking figured it out. So in my brain, I was like, me putting the controller down helped me think. And so then the next puzzle, I did that, and I got the answer a lot faster. And it was a harder puzzle. And so just learning tips and tricks and realizing sometimes I might get stuck because I'm making an assumption about how to solve the problem. So it's definitely helping with my problem solving skills. And we'll see if this translates into real life when I come across the problem. I can't say right now I don't have problems in my life, but a decent amount of those problems are not things I have control over. Just mitigating how much of an effect they have on me. So when I encounter a problem that I can control, we'll try it out. But as of right now, I don't have one of those. I have external influencing problems. But that's what I've been playing.
It-
Lots of
it
puzzle
very
games.
much is
Oh, and I
about.
finally.
Sorry.
Only thing I was going to quickly mention is I finally rolled credits for Hellblade 1. And the ending really hit me when, like, she's trying so hard to do this thing that she wants, but it's not good for her. And it's not what she's supposed to be doing. And in my head, it kind of correlated to a problem I was having in my own life. So, for our listeners who don't know, me and my husband are poly, which is relevant to what I'm about to say. So, recently, Zoe has been having a problem with like trying to find other partners or having those relationships work. And I don't know, after playing that, something clicked in my head. I'm like, Zoe, maybe that's not what you need to be doing right now. Like, I know that this is what you want and you really want to have this in your life, but like, what if it's not good for your life right now? Which makes sense because my life is hella busy now that I started school, and trying to balance work and school and like home life is already fucking difficult. I couldn't imagine trying to fit in a partner at the moment. So, yay for learning things about myself through video games.
Well, I was just going to say, it's as much as about language and linguistics, it's also in large part about emphasizing and encouraging ways to go about problem solving, including walking away from something for a minute. So there's a lot of layers in The Witness in terms of what you can take away from it and what it's about. And those are just a couple. And those are big. So, but all right, let's wrap this up. I have been busy as shit this week, and I haven't rolled credits on Animal Well yet, but I have made some progress. I've found the bat, and I've not finished the bat. I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, but then I found the iguana, and I beat the iguana puzzle. So I've got one flame down. I feel like I've got at least 75% of the map uncovered, opened up, exposed, whatever. And now it's just kind of figuring out which buttons to push where to get into the last little crevices and get to the boss puzzles. Which again, boss puzzles. Yes. Not boss fights, boss puzzles. The iguana wasn't terribly demanding. Boss puzzles also has a nice throwback feel to Cocoon, which again, it's not a boss fight, it's a boss puzzle. You just have to, it demands a little more coordination than just here's a puzzle, solve a puzzle. It's no. There's a demand on your attentiveness and your platforming as well. So it's a boss puzzle. But it was really fucking cool. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to give it away. I'm just going to say that Animal Well continues to amaze and impress me in all it does. And I'm hoping this week to be able to roll credits on the first layer of Animal Well. I don't know the specifics yet, but I know that there's a bunch more in subsequent runs of Animal Well to uncover that you won't see until after you've rolled credits once. That's been most of what I've been playing this week is just trying to push those last outer edges of the map on Animal Well and find my way into the boss puzzles and get through those so I can get to credits and start digging into the real fucking mystery, which this reminds me a lot of, in all the right ways. It reminds me very much of Fez. I can see a very heavy Fez influence in Animal Well, and I don't see a world where that's in any way, shape, or form a bad thing.
Hopefully, Billy
Fez was
Basso is not a
magnificent.
Phil Fish.
You know what? Honestly, I don't have a problem with Phil. I think Phil got the short end of a real crappy stick, and he finally had enough. Like, he might be a little bit prickly, kind of like Jonathan Blow, but at the same time, he didn't deserve the heaps of vitriol that were spit at him.
Be fair,
But that's my take.
I have not looked into the situation in a long, long time. It is perfectly possible that I have since
Oh, I
matured
did.
or need to say, hey, maybe I was wrong to hate him back then. So let's look more into that before
I'll
I
put
make
it.
any further
I'll
comments.
throw a little nugget out there. I'm going to throw a little no nugget out there. A number of years ago, we actually made contact with Phil and inquired very politely, even though it was post industry exit, about asking him to come on to see if he'd be willing to come chat with us. And he very respectfully declined, and I didn't push it further than that. But did get to continue on some conversation back and forth in email with him after that, just the two of us, and was really super chill, really nice dude. Like, I don't have a bad thing to say about him or the interaction that I've had with him either. So
And
there there's my personal experience
And you know
with the
what?
guy.
When he had the, let's just for the sake of this argument, I'm looking it up more now. So here I am saying at the very least I was wrong at least a little, might be even wrong more, but I'm for sure wrong at least a little. Uh, for one thing, the incident that caused everyone to hate him a bunch, where he canceled Fez 2 because of Twitter beef, that was over 10
Hmm.
years ago now.
Hmm.
So even if he
I
was in
know,
the
and it
wrong
still
then,
makes me sad.
yeah, even if he was in the wrong then, he 10 years is a lot of time to change. So you know what? Phil, if you heard me say that, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have assumed, even if we make the assumption that you were in the wrong then, I shouldn't have assumed you're still like that, and I should look deeper into it before making any further comments.
Like I said, I remember when all that went down, and I I, I feel for the guy. Like I said, I think he got the short end of a real shitty stick, which is the worst of the gaming community, which is also a very large swath of it, sadly. But
That
we've talked about that over the years here, even, and just wish it was better. And we do what little we can to raise the level of decency and discourse in the gaming community by providing this. So,
that's true.
but in
That's
any
true.
case, but yeah, like I said, Animal Well is absolutely fantastic. It does so much with so little, and it's so impressive for that fact. I cannot say enough good things, and I can't wait to see what's waiting and hiding after the credits, because I've heard some whispers and things, not enough to spoil my excitement and surprise when I get to them, just enough to entice me to keep going further and deeper down the Animal Well. But that's it for me. Um, I think that means we're almost ready to hit the break. But before we do, a quick word about our awesome sponsor, Imaginary Authors, helping you up your scent game with fragrances for guys, gals, and non-binary pals, including one of their newest, and this is quickly becoming a favorite daytime scent for me, is The Language of Glaciers. And Zoe, I know you've smelled it and you liked it. What do you think here? What pops out to you from The Language of Glaciers? Did we lose you?
I think the one that I said, like, it just kind of, I don't know.
There you are.
I'm
You're good.
here. Hi. Um, if I remember correctly, because it's not like I'm smelling it right now, so this is just from memory, but
Oh, watch
it
me.
just had a very crisp, clean, of course you would, a crisp, clean smell. And it didn't have like something super musky. And sometimes that's really good. I'm not saying having like a musk or a distinct scent is bad, but For me, it just, I don't know. I have a friend of mine, and I always tell him this. Like, he just smells clean. Like, if he smells like he just hopped out of the shower and his clothes just came out of the laundry every single time I see him. And yeah, no, it has. Don't get me wrong. It's got definitely like a cologne smell, but like, for those not watching the video, my husband just put it on his wrist and had me smell it. But yeah, it just smells really clean. Like if you had like a, like male scented like soap. So mix like a man's cologne and soap, and then that's kind of what you get. Um, which is not bad. Like I said, sometimes not having something with like a thick scent is very nice. And, and you know, they're all that we can smell clean. So and that's enough. So yeah.
It's a good, clean, like cool scent.
I mean, hence the glacier in the name. You said that they make stuff for,
Definitely.
guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I have not looked at their like female collection, and I should just to see what's
They're
there.
they don't split them. They just go, here's our stuff and here's the smells in them. They don't go, this is for
Okay.
guys, this is for gals. It's just, here's our stuff. Get what you like. So it's for everybody. But that is Imaginary Authors. Link to them in the show notes down below. Go check them out. Go get yourself some good smelly stuff. Colognes, perfumes, fragrances, perfumed oils, bar soaps, perfumed candles, all excellent stuff. Go check them out. And you've got just a moment to do that while we jump to the break. And we're back with the third half of the show. This week, we're taking a dive down the warp pipe. And we're asking the all-important question: is nostalgia holding gaming hostage as a medium? So let's jump into this meaty nostalgic topic with my good friend Riker. So you definitely said you had some feelings on this when we were figuring out what to cover this week. You want to jump in with some opening thoughts? You want
Yeah,
to draw
sure.
first blood here?
I can. I don't think there's any blood to be drawn here because my answer honestly is no. I don't think that it
Ooh.
is. Ooh, do you
Okay.
have a differing opinion there?
Oh, I do. I do. Ooh. I also
Well,
feel the same about orange soda.
how do you feel about orange soda?
Because I do. Ooh.
I gotcha. No, I mean honestly, I feel like the first thing that comes to mind when you ask me that question is remakes. The remakes that have made a sudden and aggressive appearance in gaming here in the past couple of years. You know, Resident Evil, that's the only one I can think of right now, but you know what I'm saying. There's been a lot of remakes. Wasn't there a Halo remake too?
Yeah, the anniversary stuff that was in the Master Chief collection.
Yeah.
Which,
so that being said,
those weren't even remakes. Those were just remasters.
Yeah, remakes, remasters, that all kind of falls into nostalgia. And my stance on it is that while a lot of people have been hating on the remakes, remasters, you know, I don't see a problem with it. If anything, I think it pulls old gamers back that haven't been playing, in recent months to years. I think that nostalgia is a pull back to gaming instead of a deterrent. What are your thoughts?
So my thought here stems from the the basic craving for gaming to keep feeling like it used to feel when it started. But the thing is I'm like, if you keep trying to hang your hat on that same hook, you never get to go forward. And don't get me wrong, there's a place for nostalgia. There is. But as a medium, we've been working our way forward for the last 20 years in a really profound direction. And I feel like nostalgia has become a ball and chain that is just slowing that movement down. I'm not saying get rid of it completely, but I think I think gaming has held on to it entirely too tightly. You know, the thought that everything has to be obnoxiously difficult and has to abide by gameisms as opposed to really evolving and coming into its own as a medium and exploring what it really can do. And there are some standout examples that do that, but the industry by and large seems very determined to stick to the same basic formula for making games rather than actually being willing to explore the real potential of the medium and what we can get out of it as an art form, as a storytelling medium, even as a mode of entertainment. It just, yeah, I know the word was going the completely wrong direction there. So, and like I said, there's a few examples that definitely break the mold and should be held up as shining examples here. But the desperate need for formulaic nostalgia in gaming because it's safe means that the majority of what we see coming out of games is just different variations of the same thing. And I think it's a shame, you know, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I want to be without games in the form that they exist now, but I want to see more balance in terms of what's coming out in exploratory new things like Outer Wilds, like Tunic, like The Witness. And there are some that even take that nostalgia and use it to explore, where you get games like Fez or Animal Well at this point kind of explores that a little bit. And there's a way to merge that, but even then we still hold so tightly to that nostalgia that we're just so hesitant to move forward and let the medium grow and spread its wings.
I mean,
and it boggles me because every time one of these comes out, it's celebrated and heralded. You'd think that somebody by now would get the message. More of that.
I mean, I can agree to an extent on what you're saying, but I mean, society as a whole loves nostalgia. I mean, look at movies that are coming out. A lot of remakes, a lot of new movies based off of old movies from, way back. As a whole, things like that tend to do really well. So, I mean, why would they risk doing something if they don't know that they're going to make any money from it? Why not please the masses? And I think
Not
that's
all of
what's
them.
happening.
Not all of them. And honestly, I think the best ones of those that do the best and are the best are the ones that take a known quantity and pull it inside out and turn it on its ear. Those are the ones that really shine.
Okay.
So, you take the Apes movies, for example. They took a known quantity but put a new spin to it.
Or like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often they do a revamp.
Yeah.
See, but my point here is that there was already a following for Star Trek. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm saying about the games, is that if you know that there's already a following for some of these games and some of these concepts, that people like, then why change it? Why create something entirely new when you know that people already like this thing over here? Whether it be a concept or an art style or a gameplay style, like, you know? You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I do. I'm just saying it frustrates me seeing it shackled to
Oh,
times long gone, as opposed to having the
kinky.
opportunity to be fully nurtured and allowed to spread its wings into something magnificent like it can be. And we get little glimpses and little peeks of that now and again, just not nearly often enough.
I just think we're at a point that there's not a whole lot of new concepts, new ideas to be pushed out. Not to say that that's permanent. I just think that in the past several years we've really done a lot. Especially pre-2020. Like, we really did a lot. A lot of new stuff came out, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new concepts, from gaming to movies to even hobbies, like people's hobbies also. Like, a lot has changed since, some of these older video games have came out that are being remade and remastered and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know, and don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for a great remaster or remake. If you, especially on the remake side, if you do something new and interesting with it, take what they've been doing with Final Fantasy VII. It's a remake, but it's also taking something established and warping it into something different at the same time. Like, it's using nostalgia as a tool instead of a weight.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, there's a place for it, but, use it to your advantage. Don't let it be something that drags you down and keeps you from moving forward.
Okay.
And I think that's where we've been stuck a lot, is that it's nostalgia being a tire stop rather than being burned for fuel and used to move things forward.
One thought I do have on something you said earlier. I thoroughly enjoy judging things. Okay. Arguably, my partner has told me that I am one of the most judgmental persons that he knows when it comes to media consumption, as well as other aspects of my life. I love comparing, like, old games to new games and saying what they should have kept the same, what should have been different. Same with remakes of movies. So, just a thought there.
Yeah. No, and don't get me wrong, there's a place for that. It's fun to go through something and, play spot the differences and what got tweaked, what got changed. And, I was certainly judgy on a few things with, like, the Metroid Prime remake or remaster. They changed a handful of small, subtle things, but there were one or two things they changed that were definitely a downgrade, and the internet noticed, and I did too, and it was sad, but yeah, no, it's fun just to pick over that stuff with a fine-tooth comb. I'm not saying it's not.
I don't know. I feel like society as a whole needs to take a long rest, not a short rest, like what we keep doing in my D&D campaign. And, really rethink and revamp media as a whole. And I feel like maybe that's what we're doing with all of these, remakes and remasters. Like, they need time to think, they need time to breathe before they pump out these new and glowing concepts that you would like to see. Maybe they just need a long rest.
It might. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some retro fueled stuff that keeps turning up that gets me excited, but even then it's retro done right with those quality of life tweaks and changes, at least, instead of, and I see it from time to time, not as much as you used to, but the bitching and complaining that games are too easy now. It's like,
No, they're
no,
not.
games are just being made without being terrible. Because you grew up on a glut of games that were poorly made, that made them unnecessarily difficult, and we put up with it because that was the one game that we had money to buy, that for an entire fucking month.
Like Finding Nemo.
I was gonna point out some others, like The Lion King. Or pick probably 75% of the NES library at that point as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of those games were as hard as they were because they were poorly made, not because they were intended to be that difficult. And that's a piece of nostalgia that has, at least for the most part, fallen by the wayside. So we're getting there in little baby steps, at least.
Yeah, now instead of games just being hard at one part, they're just hard.
But I mean, at least if it's made that way on purpose, I can get behind it. You get into stuff like Dark Souls, anything in the Souls genre, and yeah, it is punishingly difficult on purpose, but it's also not unfair either, and that's a big difference.
Yeah, and you know what you're getting into. Like, that game has the reputation for being a ball buster.
Right. And it's a ball buster on purpose, but like I said, it's also not an unfair ball buster.
No.
Like, if you die, it's because you fucked up,
Unlike
not because somebody took a cheap shot. I love your fixation with Finding Nemo. This makes me happy inside.
And game, and I can't find it. I want to play it as an adult and see if that one part is still unnecessarily hard. I want to finish the game.
What are you looking for it on?
I've looked on the PlayStation Store and I've looked on Game Pass.
You're probably not going to find it on either of those. You're probably going to need to hunt down hardware and a hard copy.
Yeah, I figured if I could find another PlayStation 2 copy and I could get my PlayStation 3 shipped to me and fixed because it's in my parents' basement, that potentially I could retry it. But maybe, hear me out here, they should just remaster it. And then I can play it. And I won't get stuck with Bruce chasing me.
I don't know. On the subject of nostalgia holding back gaming, I think maybe we should just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
I mean, when society takes a long rest, you just have to sit there. Whether you're an elf and you only need the 4 hours, you just gotta sit. You're an elf. You've had your 4 hours of rest, and you're over it. I'm I don't know. I'm a dwarf and I'm good. I'm resting. I'm resting with it.
I know you're short. You don't need to remind me.
Hey, you know what? When I was pregnant, I grew an inch. Okay, I'm 5'3" now. I still can't reach a lot of shelves, but it is what it is. We just don't use the top shelves.
All that wasted space.
If something needs to go up there, I have Ty put it up there, and then he gets it down for me.
Now, as long as you have a system. So, but I think we can close this one a little earlier than normal. Actually, though, I feel we've stretched this enough. Any last thoughts you want to toss on the funeral pyre?
No, I'm good.
Well, I'll leave my final thought as a summary then. I'm not saying throw the nostalgia away, but put it to work for you instead of letting it weigh you down and hold you back, which is what a lot of gaming has been doing for the last 10 to 20 years. And, you know, I'm not saying get rid of it. Don't. There's a place for it. But it's definitely out of balance right now inside the industry in terms of what we see coming out. And that's a bit of a shame, because we could have been so much further ahead in what the medium can do in terms of entertainment, storytelling, narrative, all of it. But everyone's too stuck on what it used to be instead of what it could be. That makes me sad inside. But we're getting there. Just
keep swimming.
Yep. Just keep swimming, apparently. So let's wrap this up. I want to say thank you to my compatriot for coming and hanging out with me this week. Thank you to everybody that tuned in and listened. Thank you to our awesome sponsor, Imaginary Authors. If you have any thoughts, you want to weigh in on the topic with us, hit that link in the show notes down below and jump into the Discord and let us know what you think on the subject. Definitely. And we'll see you all next week. You've been listening to the World 1-1 podcast, powered by the World 1-1 Podcast Network. Press start to engage your mind. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.